opportunities for discounts if you're at the kind of, $10,000 to $15,000 a month commit level? Like, what else do you have the option of doing?
Well, I think the big thing you want to examine is what your cash flow looks like.
Mm-hmm.
If you just got a big funding round and you've got some runway, it may be better to prepay those reservations and see the deepest discounts that you can, right?
Right.
If you're kind of bootstrapped, but you're going to at least make this much, obviously you can cover AWS bill, then you can pay that monthly. You'll see a little less savings, but you'll still pay less than you would on demand.
Right.
And that's going to be a business decision. If you can prepay, it will be less. You'll save more that way. But like I said, that's going to be up to each individual business.
Right.
The other thing that you may want to look at too is that, going forward, if you have a thing where you're trying to do a digital transformation, if you're in a lift and shift, or you've done a kind of an MVP or V1.0, and then you don't necessarily want to commit to that specific instance type, we'll say, or you're going to plan to use or expand into using serverless. A blend of the two can be done, right? So you're going to be using X amount of reservation per, I'm going to use this number of instances, but then you have also some other stuff you're going to be using. Then get both. Get a reservation. You can reserve an instance and get a savings plan, and anything you're covering on demand will be covered by that.
Sure. For sure. And AWS kind of does a lot of the math for you on applying the deepest discount that it can of all of the different pre-purchasing vehicles that you currently have. So that helps a great deal to simplify things, although we wish they would make it a little bit more explicit on the bill sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing too is that if you don't want to get in the business of doing reservation management, because sometimes it can be harrowing, just get the savings plan.
Yes, absolutely. Because, that degree of flexibility really helps make things easier to deal with. And it's also worth pointing out that, if you buy a compute savings plan, let's say, for instance, and you've bought too little, you can always buy more.
Yeah.
And they stack on top of each other effectively.
Mm-hmm.
So, I wouldn't necessarily, analysis paralysis is a problem we see sometimes with folks and resource pre-purchasing, because they go, well, I don't know exactly what my usage is, and maybe I should do this, and maybe I should do this. And it's like, find a baseline, buy the savings plan for the baseline, and just recalculate in 3 months, and just be on the hook to keep doing that if you can.
Yeah. And the base recommendations that AWS gives, they're good. They're
right.
So, if you feel it's a little aggressive, then you can back off a little bit from it, but they're going to be pretty good, right? They accumulate a lot of data.
They sure do.
So, this is definitely a situation where perfect is the enemy of good, right? So instead of trying to slice it down to the penny of like, this 10,000%, this 100% utilization all the time, just do the best. And don't worry about, quote unquote, leaving money on the table because your savings plan utilization is only 98%, because you're still going to be paying less than you would be if you were paying on demand.